Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was on your mama.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism.
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers. Loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
How do you like my Beats headsets?
Dude, when I saw him, I was like, oh, he got the white ones. Like,
Yeah, I figured last time I had Black Power Black, so I figured I'd go with racist white.
they're clean looking, though.
Yeah, they are.
With the gold trim.
They look like a new pair of Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, couple things on a lot of things on this plate, people. I don't know that we'll all get to it all in one episode. So, and then Andy and I don't know whether we haven't locked down for sure whether he's gonna be with me next week in Omaha, because we're only doing 3 shows when we thought there were 4. So the logistics of it being so little shows and
Coming all the way out
the
there.
price of the plane ticket coming all the way out there, we haven't locked it in as to whether or not he's going to go. So we're going to record 2 episodes this Wednesday, which you're hearing now, and then next Wednesdays that we'll also record today. But that even if we do it today, well, we are going to do it today. He still may be in Omaha. We're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm saying all that to say, I don't know how much in terms of what we have on this plate will make up this hour, and then we'll go into the next hour. But we'll figure it out. Because really, we kind of just talking. A lot of events have transpired over the last, what was it, week? It was a week.
The last 2 weeks. But really,
Yeah.
10 days.
You got married, man.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so
It happened.
So you know.
No, it was fantastic.
Yeah, you said it was fantastic, and I was like, hey man, save it for the pod.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. I took 16 years, but we did it, and it was a small wedding. But dude, it was so cool because it was so not Jersey. We're in Jersey. We got married in Hoboken in this little place called the Barsky Gallery. It's a small gallery right as you enter Hoboken. Like if you go into the Holland Tunnel, but you turn left to go to Hoboken, and there it's right there. And it was just a cool little space, and we wanted to do something different. I mean, we've been together 16 years. It was not like we were like we didn't know each other, or we were getting like this is just this bringing all the families together. It wasn't that. I mean, everybody's known each other, so it was just. But I wanted something nice for her family. You know, fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, I've been married before, and I just wanted something nice for her family. And I thought it was all about her family, dude. And I kept telling her, yeah, you know, for your family, man, you do these things. It's for you. Get the dress you want. It's for you. It's for you. I kept saying it. Man, I got to be really honest. When she came out and that music hit.
You cried?
Like a.
Did you really?
Yeah. Like I didn't really cry when she came out. I cried when I went to go give my vows, because I wrote a really great like poem kind of vow thing, and I started to get into it, and I just started crying from the very beginning.
So
to the end of
you
it.
cried through the reading of the vows?
Yeah.
Yeah, you bitch.
Yeah, I did.
You was all.
No, not like that. I just was like, I was hard to get it all out, to sound clean. And I even looked at him. I go, I do this for a living, talking in front of people. And
Did
I can't
she cry seeing you cry?
Yeah, the whole place cried.
She cried too?
The whole room cried.
I can't picture Tara crying nothing but gasoline.
And she got a little teared up. She didn't cry like the even the men were crying at the place. The whole place started crying. It was so funny because I was really emotional about it, because I realized when she came down, this wasn't just for her, man. This was for me as well. This was like for us. And when I saw her, I was like, oh no, this is me too. Like, now I knew it was me, but I just thought, I've been here. This is really for her to experience this thing, but experiencing it with her is what I wasn't considering. I experienced something that I had never experienced before. Yes, I've been married, but I never experienced that. And it was amazing. And the vows were awesome, dude. I wrote. People are still repeating the vows today.
So you came up with them yourself?
Yeah. And it was great. Her vows too were great. And this is what's so great about Tara. And this is what's like a lot of people don't recognize because they see her and her resting face and the stuff who she is. And Tara's very serious, but she's not. She's very fun, man. In her vows, she quoted something from Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
And it was just like this great quote about when weirdness meets the other weirdness, and it becomes. And it was such a great. Like everybody was expecting me to be the one to give out like the jokey joke vows, and mine was like a beautiful poem kind of, and hers were fun, jokey, and really fun, really nice, really well thought out, very caring vows. But still, she was the one that had the funnier parts in there. But I was funny as up there because when I started crying, I got stuffy, and I'm like, I blew a snot bubble, dude. No one could see it. It was on my right side. They're
Did
looking
she
at me.
see it?
I don't even think she saw it. And I just stopped, and I looked at everybody. I go, I just blew a snot bubble. I go, this is ridiculous. And I turned to my two boys who were my best man, Max and True, are my best men. And my old best man from my first marriage is one of my best friends in the world who showed up for my wedding, and he was sitting in the audience. And I said, tears are coming down. I got snot in my nose, and I just look at my two boys. I go, is it possible that one of my best men could find a Kleenex, a tissue, something for me to wipe my nose with? And as soon as I started to say it, out of nowhere, Matt, who's my old best man, my original best man, runs over and he hands me this Kleenex even before my boys can move. And I go, look, I just looked at him. I go, isn't that something? I had to have the old best man come in and help out because you guys couldn't handle it. The whole place was laughing and crying at the same time. It was such an amazing event. And then afterwards, the flowers were beautiful. The cake was beautiful. But I didn't want to do a traditional wedding. There was a taco truck that is in Jersey that I think is some of the best tacos I ever had, and they catered They showed up. They had their truck outside, and everybody had to go outside and grab tacos. And it was the best. Everybody loved it. It was like the best. We sat around for like 2 hours, and then after that, we went back to the W Hotel in Hoboken. We didn't go anywhere fancy. We didn't go to the big bar. We just stayed downstairs at the bar in the lobby, and we had this round table, and like maybe anywhere from probably like 16 to, at any given time, 16 to like 8 people were just around this table just talking for a couple hours. And at the end of the night, Tara and I go back to the room, and we have a suite that's overlooking the Hudson, and you can have the whole skyline of New York, and we're just looking at it, and we're drinking wine, some sparkling wine, some regular wine, just having the best time. And I just looking, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I go, I just don't want it to end because it's not going to be the same when we wake up. So we sat there for another hour just drinking and looking over the city and just being in love, man. It was spectacular. It was
Did y'all fuck?
Of course, it was the wedding.
I'm just saying.
Got to consummate that stuff. Had to get that in. That happened before we went out on the balcony.
So you said her vows were from Dr. Seuss?
She had a quote from Dr. Seuss in there that she read. But the best part of it, and I've been using it on stage, is Tara's mom and her aunt came over to me after the wedding, and I was showing someone the ring, and she goes, "Well, Tara's mom, are you going to wear your ring all the time, even when you're out on the road?" And I go, "Of course. How else am I going to keep these off me?" And I saw their whole face go from their funny, like I'm gonna get him kind of thing to just like, oh. And just turned around and walked away. They had no response to it, so it was great.
If I ever get married again, I'm gonna keep my vows very short and simple. Probably one line, and the inspiration will be Ike Turner. Bitch, you leave me, I kill you.
You should write your own song called "It's Not the First Time, but It's the Last Time."
Hey man, I don't even know if there'll be a last time. So that was all in all, that sounds like a great.
It was fantastic. One of my best friends though, he wasn't there, and that was kind of disappointing. But
right.
That's because this had to go do a show in Albany, Georgia.
Well, that's a good segue because my weekend was the opposite of yours. What is that thing they call something's law? If anything can go wrong, it will go.
Dude.
Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law. You're right. You're
This
right.
was for me, not if anything can go wrong, everything went wrong. So I get to Albany, and let me just say, the thing that I was most worried about was the thing that was my least concern. I mean, it was what I was most worried about that did not become the concern that I was concerned about, which was, yes, the attendance wasn't great, but more importantly, I'm in the South, and I'm in front of niggas, Southern. So I'm thinking they're gonna be slow, and here's what didn't help: the guy that picks me up, he's like, talkative, and you know me, man, I really don't.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
traveling, leave me the fuck alone. But this dude is talkative, and as we're driving from the airport to the hotel, as we're going through certain sections of town, he's just telling me, now over here, blah, 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 blah. In 19, he's giving me a little history tour. And so finally I go, hey man, you've worked with this promoter before? He goes, all the time. Now the promoter sounded like a black girl, but she was white. And so I'm thinking, okay, white promoter, who knows? Maybe this is my first time, and maybe this is Albany, Georgia. Maybe it'll be a mixed crowd. And, usually if the promoter's white, then that means the people they deal with, like there's a color code to this how this works. But, he goes, I go, so what'll be the demographic of, since you work with her, of the audience? He go, oh man, all young people, ignorant hood. I said, oh no. So besides it being the South, besides it being, they're a little slow, now I got to deal with ignorant young from the South. I'm dreading this. But it turned out not to be that. They were a little bit older and more mixed than I had, heavily mixed, more than I had anticipated. And their energy was good. They could keep up with me. So that part turned out great. But here's the thing. I get to the hotel. The lady goes, and remember, I caught the red eye. So I've been up since, was it a red eye that I caught? No, it was a red eye. So I flew out late, didn't really sleep on the plane.
It was delayed too, wasn't it?
No. And so I get there and I'm tired. I want to check in, but I can only check in, and I got maybe 2 hours before showtime. So I want to check in, take a quick nap, get ready. She goes, everything's down right now. Our computers are down. Everything is down. So I can't check you in. So you could either wait it out here in the lobby, and I said, miss, I am tired. I got to go do a sound check. I got a show tonight. I need some rest. So is there any way? She goes, well, if you want, you go do your sound check, and hopefully maybe by the time you get back, we could check you in and everything will be fine. I said, okay, well, she goes, or we could put you in up at I stayed at the Hill, I was supposed to stay at the Hilton Garden Inn. We could put you up at the Hampton, which is 12 miles from here. I said, I should go, because we work with them. So I said, just switch all my from here to there. When I get done with my sound check, I'll go straight to the Hampton. She said, okay. So I go to do the sound check, and you've been with me on sound checks. It's not rocket science.
No.
Bada boom, bada bang, hit the cues, play the music. For whatever reason, they didn't have the right equipment. So instead of normally with a theater with the right soundboard and the equipment, they just take my music, they cue it up, they put it into the system, no problem. They're doing everything from a laptop with Spotify on the phone. The sound check, which normally takes tops 8 minutes, 45 minutes. And they just keep getting these cues wrong. At one point, the dude that picked me up says, come on, man, it's real unprofessional looking, man. Y'all making us look bad in front of the artists. Aries, man. So he goes, it ain't rocket science. And I go, you know what? It's funny, because this is the South. If it was rocket science, this is why you guys are having a tough time. Everywhere else I go, they figure it out. But this has to be rocket science for you. So the lady, the promoter tells me, oh, Aries, good news. They fixed the situation at the Hilton, so now you don't have to go to the Hampton. All right, cool. Finish the sound check, go back to the Hilton. She goes, well, part of the system came on. So what we could do is we can make you a key. We could give you a key to check into the room. But the thing is, if somebody else books this same room online and gets an electronic key, they'll have access to your room. So I go, well, what are you gonna do? We're gonna put a sign on the door that says, do not enter. So I go, you mean to tell me I'm gonna leave all my shit in the room, and the only thing stopping somebody from opening and going into my room is what do they call that? Is the honor system? What if somebody decides to go, don't enter the room? Well, why not? And then they enter my room and take my shit. She goes, well, we'll put a guard outside the door. I said, you want me to trust and have a guard outside my door till I'm done with my evening? And she goes, well, sir, I said, that, put me up at the Hampton. So then I go to the Hampton. Do the show, bada boom, bada bing, everything is cool, goes great, good night. I get ready to leave the next day. I have to be at the airport at 8 o'clock in the morning. The systems are down at the airport. So everybody that's there misses that flight. The next flight out of Albany to Atlanta, which I got to go catch my connection, leaves at 3:30 in the afternoon. So now I'm at Albany Airport at 8 o'clock in the morning. Next flight don't leave till 3:30. So I was like, man, this. I call the airline, because of that, I'm going to miss my connection out of Atlanta back to L.A. The next flight out of Atlanta to L.A. leaves at 6:50 at night. I'm in Albany. So I tell my driver, hey, man, and I looked it up. I was going to get an Uber. I'm going straight to Atlanta. So an Uber was going to cost me $310. It just so happened that I looked at the Uber first, and then when I asked old boy, I said, hey, man, can you drive me to Atlanta? He goes, yeah, man, I'll do it for like $300. So with him, I saved $10. So before we
But you didn't wait for anybody. You had him.
Yeah, I had him. So we get ready to go. I get in this car. We about to go drive to Atlanta. He go, hey, man, I got to make stop first. Where, nigga? Man, I got to get some weed. So he drives me to his weed man's house. And I'm sitting in the driveway, and this come to the door of the weed man. This nigga had on boxer, like little tighty whities and a wife beater, fat with about 8 holes in the shirt and a do-rag. And I'm sitting in this driveway. Then once we get the weed, he goes, we go to the gas station. And dude's getting gas. He says, hey, man, can you do me a favor? Can you grab me a pack of cigarillos? I go, why can't you get them? Because out here in the state of Georgia, you can't buy tobacco without a license. So we're driving without a license, Andy, and this got weed. So I go, all right, man, yeah. So I buy him the cigarillos, and then there's a Bojangles in the gas station. I'm hungry. I want to go get Bojangles. They can't sell me chicken because the system is down. So the system is down in the hotel. The system is down at the airport. The system is down at Bojangles. This ain't got no license. I'm riding with him with weed. It's a 3-hour drive to Atlanta. I get to Atlanta, and he takes me to the hotel. So I go in, I check into the hotel. I got 5 or 6 hours before I leave. I go in the room. The TV don't work. So then I go, yo, the TV don't work. And they go, we're going to send somebody up. I waited an hour and a half. I kept calling. Nobody's coming for the TV. I said, miss, I've been in this room for an hour and a half with no TV. She goes, I'll switch you to a suite. She switches me to a suite. Andy, I'm starving. I want to fucking order food. The phone don't work. So I had to go downstairs, order my food. An hour goes by. My food don't come. I go back down and go, the guy f***ed up. He lost your ticket. So now I have to wait another hour. Finally, I get my food. I'm sitting in the hotel. I'm getting my shit together to get ready to go to the airport. I get an alert. The flight's delayed. Hour. Andy, what the f*** is happening? The whole day. Just one thing after the next, delay, down service, no license, buy this some tobacco, the phone don't work, the TV don't work. What the f*** is happening, dude? It was a Twilight Zone.
And was he smoking the weed in his cigarette while you're driving out there?
Yes. So the flight gets delayed. Finally, I get on my flight from Atlanta. By the time I get home, it's 9 o'clock at night. I was supposed to be home that day at 12:30 in the afternoon. So that was my weekend. And like I said, the thing that I was most worried about, the crowd and the show sucking, that's the thing that didn't happen.
That was the least of the problems.
That was the least of the problems.
It's so funny because I was.
I'm sorry. And
Good.
I made some decent money in merch.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was so. It was just so funny because on Sunday, the day you're having your struggles getting back, I'm having the best day ever. My kids were with me, and they were having such a good time. They didn't want to go home. Max wanted to go home like after the wedding. He wanted to go home because he had to go to work because he took some days off, so he was going to go do some work. I go, man, you want to stay? He goes, yeah, I really do. I go, do you want to stay until tomorrow? He goes, I really need to get back, but I'd like to stay. So I went and I found a flight that left that night. So basically, and he has it's a 3-hour flight change, so he still got back home early enough. Man, I couldn't. It couldn't have been better. You're right. I had the exact opposite situation that you had.
Oh my God.
Exact opposite. What a fantastic weekend. Sorry for yours.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, it was the salt and pepper, the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
But when he said, I got to stop and get some weed, you didn't consider calling the Uber and just going, yeah, this?
I was already in his car. We were already on the way to the weed man house.
Do you have a nice car?
You know what? He had a Maserati.
He did.
Yeah, but I mean, it was junky in a but like you couldn't sit in the back. He had so much back there. And I mean, he was a nice dude, but just ghetto and just hood.
So let me hear, how do you ask for the cigarillos?
Hey, man, can you do me a favor, man? Give me some cigarillo, man. Which I thought was the oddest request. Like, why you can't do it?
It's pretty funny. I love when you said, because I don't have a license. If you don't have a license, you can't
buy tobacco.
Dude, you didn't. Did you hear the dun 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 in your head at that moment?
Nigga, I heard the dun 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 when the airport happened. And it was wild because the line it was strange because when I went into the airport, the line they only had one person. Well, first of all, Albany is so small. Not only is the airport small, there's only one airline, Delta.
Oh, really?
There's only one airline that flies in and out of Albany, and it's Delta. So they only had one ticket clerk. And that line I was like, this is ridiculous. So it took forever just for me to see the clerk. And then the lady was like, I could get you your ticket if you have the Delta app on your phone. That way I could check you in that way. But if we can't, because the system is down, we can't print an actual boarding pass, and you need that to get through security. So I didn't have the app. I put on the app, I got to create passwords, and I got to do this. And by the time I'm not technology savvy, it was a nightmare.
Dude, I almost, I liked what I did better that weekend, but if had the situation been different, I would have loved to have been there. Because it was just, the look on your face when you really don't have anybody to blame because it's beyond anybody.
Right.
It's just the funniest look.
On my face?
On your face.
Oh,
because you want to blame someone.
I want to choke somebody.
But you don't have anybody to blame, and it's like it's bubbling up in you even deeper because there's no one that you can talk to about it. But that's so funny, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that, but that.
Yeah, it was a night. And I'm sitting here going, when shit like this happens, you literally analyze your whole life. And I go, why is it that how come this don't happen but with good shit? Like when it rains, it pours. And just all day, it's a torrential downpour of good shit. Why when it pours like this, it's bad? Yeah. I've never in my life had a day that goes by with from top to bottom, back to back, consecutive good shit, nonstop. That's never happened to me. But what's bad, that downpour is horrendous.
That's because you get all that bad shit out of the way in one day. So you don't have to have it intermittent.
Always with the positive outlook.
I think that's what it is. I really do. Because I noticed that too. Like when, talk about being a server. When you're a server and you could have a good day, man. You're getting all your tables done. But you're going to have that. It almost seems like every day you have one table that no matter what you try to do for that table, it gets f***ed up. Like you put the order in, like the ticket disappears. Mm. Then you go back and you have it. You get them the tickets. You get them to make it really fast. Something's up. They say, this isn't right. I asked for this. Then you have to go take that back. Yes, I know you asked for it that way. I'm sorry. Take that back. You go get that done. And then they ran out of something. You know, it's always that way. So I just think that you just have these moments that life just does a little twist on you. But I think I was telling you should have canceled that show and just came out to my wedding.
Maybe. Try to sell my shirts at your wedding.
No, it would have been so funny because as soon as I imagined you were in the crowd.
Yeah.
You would have been like, bitch.
Oh, my God. Switching gears a little bit. I don't know if I want to get into this story yet or talk about the Charlemagne. Let me get into this thing. Dude, have you seen this story about the Ohio woman, black woman that killed that boy, that 3-year-old boy?
I've read a little bit about it. I don't really.
This sick, fat black. Let me tell you something. If there was ever a reason to do it or want to do it, she's the reason. And listen, I know she's mentally. You could tell, like when they show her arraignment, she's smiling and she's laughing and she's making faces, clearly mentally disturbed. Clearly. And even though I know it's a real thing, mental illness, there's still a part of me that goes, you know what you're doing though. And I between the fact of this heinous crime that she committed, when you see the footage of her laughing in court and making the faces, I went, that should be shot on sight. I was so angry. The story is this. She walks into some Walmart type store with a knife and she stole a knife. And she's walking in the store with the knife and she decides, I'm gonna attack this mother and her 3-year-old son. So you could see on the surveillance camera her kind of following them. And then once they get out to the parking lot, she attacks both the mother and the 3-year-old. The mother lived, but she killed and stabbed to death the 3-year-old kid. And I just went, this is where I just don't have room in my heart to excuse this on any level. That should be shot on sight. Because what really angered me were the faces and the laughing. Now, again, I know you could chalk that up to mental illness. Mental illness. But I don't know, man. You know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing to an extent.
I don't know the case that well. I just know that you don't always know. These people, when they go that crazy, they may know, but they don't know. Like the person inside doesn't know. They know they're doing it though. But there's no way to explain a tragedy. Like there's no way to even. It doesn't change the fact that a crazy person killed a 3-year-old and wounded the mom. That mom's going to live with that moment forever for the rest of her life. There's no way that that mom doesn't ever really come back from that. Because you want to help your kid and you can't do anything. So she never gets to come back from it. And you see someone laugh, but if someone is that crazy, what do you do for them? And does that mean that they're just locked up for the rest of their life? It's a tragedy. Obviously, the most part of the tragedy is the 3-year-old son dying, but it's a tragedy all the way around. That mom never recovers. This woman is probably going to be in a mental institution for the rest of her life. I should learn how to say institution. It's a devastating story. I didn't see the part where she was laughing in court and smiling, but that's not something that someone who is in control of what their faculties does, because you have to look like you're remorseful if you're in control of your faculties. You want to at least seem like, I was out of control at that moment, but she's just still out of control.
And listen, I've never obviously been in that situation. God willing, I will never be in that situation. But I gotta say, man, it reminds me of when Steve Harvey did the joke. He talked about the joke remember when the white lady said that a black man carjacked her and took her kids. He carjacked her.
Which one?
And her kids were in the back seat. And turns out later on, the mother actually drowned the kids. Remember that story? Yeah. Steve Harvey made a joke about, you ain't gonna just take a black woman's kids without some sort of a fight. And he mimicked the mother grabbing the back bumper of the car, and of course the car takes off, but she snatched the bumper off. That's how much of a fight she put up. And I'm just going, as a mom, I would think your attitude would be, yo, you're gonna have to kill me before you kill my kid. Like, I'm just going, how does that woman kill the kid and injure the mom? As a mother, don't you put up the most incredible fight you can to the point where it's like, look, you're gonna kill me before you kill my kid.
Well, I think that would be correct, but you don't know how injured she was. Like, was she did she pass out? Did she lose so much blood that she wasn't capable of
Right.
I don't know, because I didn't get the whole story. I got parts of the story, but the hard part about it is, and this is the hard part about it, when you're trying to decide if someone's crazy and past the capability of understanding what they did. They went to the store. They didn't have a knife. They went to the store. They got a knife. They picked up a knife. They followed someone because they knew what they were going to do, and that shows intent. And that's the hard part is
About the mental illness part.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, she has the intent to do it. Does she have? Was there any? Was it so crazy that she did it because she was crazy? But the intent is there. So she like you said, knowingly she's doing this. But is she in? Does she have the faculties to be capable of being held accountable? This is why I'd have to know so much more about this to really comment on it. And even if I did, man, I would have to be in the court to watch this whole thing go down to understand this, because sometimes you don't understand. Sometimes people are just f***ed up and crazy, and that's the bottom line. And that could be the situation.
I was telling you, and you said you watch it. I was telling you, Charlemagne the God was on Real Time with Bill Maher, and he specifically had him there to talk about the Caitlin Clark situation. And the whole time I'm watching this, and I told you, I went, Charlemagne is not equipped to have this conversation with Bill Maher, because Bill Maher brought up some things racially where it felt like Charlemagne was kind of stuttering. He didn't really have the kind of answers that I know an Eric Dyson could have given him, a Cornell West could have given him, a Roland Martin may have been able to give him. But it just felt like Charlemagne was in deep waters and was out of his depth.
I watched it too. You told me about it, and I went back and watched it. And I don't know if he was out of his depths or he didn't want to answer the questions the way that Bill put the questions to him, because the way he was asking the questions, it seems like it's a form of racism in there. It's a form of I don't even want to say racism, because it's not racism, it's bigotry. But I think that the part what you and I discussed, and you saw this, you said you saw this somewhere. The women of the NBA, I know you have been overlooked for a long time. And you've been overlooked for a long time because no one's really desired your sport. The sport wasn't desired. It hadn't come into its own yet. It was still very raw. It wasn't, the competition wasn't fantastic. And as we've said on this podcast, that will come in time as more people enter, more women enter basketball at an earlier age, and then play in high school and play in college and then get to the pro league. It's going to get better. The competition's going to get better. There's going to be more people in that group. So, that's part of this. But to put it on that this white girl, and this is what he did, this is where Charlemagne, I don't think, wanted to say it. You had a white girl, regardless of if she's white or black or whatever she is, she caused a buzz in college basketball. For whatever reason, her community helped perpetuate that buzz, where it became more of a national buzz.
When you say her community, you mean white folks?
No, I mean her college, the campus. Okay. It's a lot of times the campus is what will make it exciting. There's small market teams in men's college basketball that you might not hear about, but if the campus is excited, if they can catch a little buzz, and all of a sudden this is like the team that everybody's talking about, even though they're not a major market. But in this, it caught a little buzz. People started paying attention. Now all their games are selling out. Now people are talking about her. It's selling out on the road. And you have an opportunity to bring something in the league to add more eyeballs to your league so that all the people that weren't getting attention can start getting attention. But you're so caught up in the racial aspect that you can't let that happen. Now, I'm not going to deny that there might be a racial component to this. But what is your agenda? To just say it's a racial component? Are you trying to build your game up? Are you trying to build you up? Are you trying to take advantage of this? Because as you said, there's a lot of Magic Johnson, Larry Bird in this thing now.
Oh, listen, and I'm so glad you brought that up because I was watching Angel Reese yesterday on some interview, and I'm starting to see that, to me, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are starting to take on a Magic Bird type.
Make it work for you.
They're the women. They're the Magic and Larry of the WNBA. They're becoming that.
And that's what saved the NBA.
Right.
Which people, when we talk about these big mega contracts and everything, people forget that the NBA was on its way out the door until Magic and Bird.
Right.
So the NBA is still recent. And it's not like it's been this league forever that had this great national watch all the time where people were excited. Don't forget, a lot of the games were tape delayed or weren't even played all the way. Sports in general, professional sports, not college sports, but professional sports, really is a later part of this. It's most of these leagues are 50 have enjoyed 50 years of bigger contracts growing and where they become a national pastime. Other than baseball had that for years, but football and basketball didn't. And to see this, and basketball even less, but to see this happening, and then you can look at history and you can see how that affected the NBA, and they marketed. Women are ruining that marketing that's available to them because they're making it a racial thing instead of making it a marketable thing.
Well, I will say this, and I guess I'm going to say this, and then this also may be the question. I can't help but think and feel like, to an extent, because they showed, I saw a clip yesterday of, I guess, a recent game that Caitlin Clark played, and they had almost like a blimp shot, camera shot of the arena, completely packed and sold out. And I'm starting to feel like, all this bullying or teaming up on Caitlin Clark and all the physicality of knocking her down and doing what seems like a lot of dirty, foul, that's helping even more.
And maybe
for people to come out in support of her. And again, I don't want to try to make this a racial thing, but because it's been put in the media as such, because she's straight, not gay, and because she's white, when the league is made up of mostly black gay women, it feels like nobody's saying it. And again, I don't know this, I'm speculating, but I'm just saying it feels to me like there's a quiet, white folks is going, we coming out to support this because of the ganging up, because of the bullying and the dirty play and all the rough and tough fouls that y'all seem to be doing to her. We secretly are supporting our own on this.
I don't know if it's support because...
No. But everybody's seeing what we're seeing.
First of all, it's an inexpensive. Relatively for sports, it's an inexpensive ticket.
But it's been that.
It always has been that. But now you have media that is really hyper focused on this, and they're bringing. I think the media is bringing people out. I think a lot of the race structure of this conversation is because of the media, because the media loves racial problems. The media, they can sell more papers. They can get more eyeballs on the media.
I know the media is being the messenger to deliver the message, but nonetheless, it's out there.
But white folks have a pretty comfortable life. They're not going, well, we have to come out and support her now. It's not the same. I think that they're coming out because it's intriguing and it's interesting. The idea.
So you don't think that there's any white people that are watching what the media is delivering in terms of, look, this straight white girl who's got all this talent, who's brought the league so much attention now, seems to be getting physically beat up and pushed and experiencing dirty play on the part of all these other black women who dominate the league, you don't think there's a little bit of the white community going, yo, we're going to get behind her because of this. They may not say it.
The white community's always been behind the white community. They don't have to come out to do that. But I'm saying maybe you're right that some of them are coming up, but I don't think that's the overwhelming part. I think it's a great storyline. People are coming out to see what's happening. They show these little. I think that it's not that she's getting fouled hard. I don't think that that's the problem. I think she's not getting the calls. That's the problem.
But why do you think she's getting fouled hard?
Because, believe it or not, the WNBA, they foul hard. They do.
No, I'm not saying they don't. But when you look at the way they're attacking her, they even said even her own teammates, when she gets knocked down, don't really come to her aid. Yeah. And women are petty. Women are very petty. All the dudes in sports, pro sports, whether they're ex-athletes or current athletes or just the talking heads, they're all going, dude, you know how petty women can be. Women don't support their own sport. Women are catty. Women are seeing her get beat up. Her own teammates ain't going to help her, fouling her extra hard.
What happened when Kukoc came in, Michael Jordan and
but that was personal because of Jerry.
Yeah, but here's the thing. No one said, oh, well, they said it, they teamed up on it, but no one made a big deal about it. She should be getting the calls. If she got the calls, they would stop fouling her that hard. They would stop fouling her that hard because it hurts their team if they're fouling her for no reason whatsoever, and they're getting and she's getting to the line. They're not getting the calls. That's why they continue to foul her.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, you don't think that these hard fouls and some of this rough play is
of course.
Oh, okay.
That's
all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But it's been in the WNBA.
Not like with her. With her, it seems personal.
They showed a whole. I watched a whole reel where somebody went back in and pulled out all these plays of these hard ass fouls. Now maybe she is getting a lot, but she's a rookie. Let's also say this: she's a rookie who's getting a lot of money,
a lot of attention.
That
breeds jealousy and envy.
And it will do that even in the men's side of the business. That's why when you're a rookie, and remember back in the day before when rookies came into the league. And there was no cap on the contract that a rookie was able to get. They could be making more than anyone else on the team when they came into it. But what was their job? What did they do? Everybody in the locker room carried on shit. Put my shit here. You demean that person because you made them earn that year of getting that extra money, getting that extra attention. I don't know what they do in the WNBA.
All I'm saying is, what everybody is saying, I believe there's some truth to it when they go, yo, she's like, for the reasons we just said, besides being a rookie, she's bringing a lot of attention. She's white in a black-dominated sport. She's heterosexual in a very heavily gay lesbian sport with a lot of lesbians. So I think all of that is in the pot. I think all of that.
Sure, it's all in the pot. But if we make it just that, it's ridiculous. There's more to it than that. There's more to it. The money, the fame, the attention. That's the reason the hard fouls are coming. White and straight. There's plenty of white straight people walking around, and no one cares on the outside of basketball that she's white and straight. I mean, maybe there are some people that will go, yeah, well, I'm going to go support my girl, like you said, whatever. And they come from that area. That's their girl, whatever. That's fine. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but there's a lot of white straight women. No one cares. I don't think that's the big the thing here is the media is pushing an agenda when what they should be doing and what the WNBA should be getting a hold of is, hey, we have a chance to market and to save this league and to make a lot of money for these women. And if it's going to take women to be petty and fight with each other to bring more attention to the game, I guess then that's what they're going to do. But then women are being demeaned back to being petty, angry women. And that doesn't seem like it suits that it's going to be long-term value to the WNBA. Having the rivalry, that would bring long-term success to the WNBA. I just don't like. I don't think this is necessary. I think that it's such a small part of what's happening.
Well, if in fact there is this rivalry, the interesting question for me is, can it sustain itself? Because with Magic and Bird, you knew what you were getting in terms of what they could do. Between Reese and Caitlin, a lot of layups and jump shots.
Well, that's what the game is, though. You look at.
All right.
How many women are dunking right now?
But it's we encompass. It's not just dunking, style, dribbling.
They're shooting much better. It looks much better than it used to look. It used to look terrible. But again, this is what the NBA.
You know what? You believe in it more than I do.
No, I believe that just through the fact that the door is open, more people will play younger, more skills will develop. That will carry out better players into the NBA. Listen, right now, the WNBA players look so much better than the original WNBA games. And there were some good players on those teams, but who are they passing to? How are they going to make the game look better? One person, for a 5-person team on the floor, and only one person has skills, and they're passing the ball. The game's going to look weird, and it did. Now we have teams that have a starting 5 plus a bench, and it's looking much better. And that one person can take over the game, but have other people to feed and play the game that makes the game look like real basketball. And I just said it that way because that means I'm saying that the WNBA hasn't been real basketball. It's real basketball. It just didn't have that other level of talent at the time because there wasn't enough people that were playing. Now more people play, more people are involved, better players are coming. And it's going to keep growing. This is why I think it's a waste of time to do this, what they're doing. They want to make it, and this is the other thing. Just how did we end up getting, okay, if we want to have a black and white rivalry and white people are coming out to support and black, we're like, we've been here and we're not getting the attention. But then they threw the gay thing in there. When you're on the court and you're playing basketball, is that part of the game?
Well, no,
But then why is the media so hyper-focused on it? Do you think that the people are actually going?
Well, I don't know. When you look at some of the women come into the game during the tunnel, there's a lot of focus on it. some of them bitches be butch as a from the dress to the stride. It just is like, oh, can you be any gayer? Oh, God.
All well and good, but when it comes down to sport, it's just sports.
Yeah.
And they're trying to build this into some other thing than it has to be. I really believe that it's a media fingerprint on this, trying to do what it does, which is to say how this is the most, that we're just this racial country that everything is a fight. Every single thing's a fight. Whether let's get into fights about cooking. Women are supposed to cook at home. That's the idea of the American woman with the dress. But all the chefs are men. So should we fight this for all the chefs being men? I love when Jordan Peterson talks about women want equal rights, but I think they said like 99.9% of the bricklayers are men. So shouldn't we have it? Shouldn't women be forced to lay bricks so that it can be equal as well? We're getting ridiculous at this point.
In other basketball news, Bronny James. You like it?
I think it's great for.
Boom!
No, I think it's great for a storyline. Yeah, but I'll ask you. I'll say it this way: it's great for a storyline. Does it better basketball?
Does it better the Lakers? Basketball. Does it better the Lakers?
He has to make the team. If he doesn't make the team, then it's a non-conversation.
Of course, when you looked on social media, the thing was, this is history. This is history. Calm down, okay? When JFK was assassinated, that was a where were you moment. When 9/11 happened, that was a where were you moment. When they put the man on the moon, that was a where were you moment. Bronny James signing to the Lakers is not a where were you moment. This is not, technically, you want to call it basketball history. This is the first father-son duo to ever play together on the same team. All right, fine. But ease up on the word history. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, it kind of is because LeBron James had to play for a long time in order for his son to be old enough to meet him in the NBA. So that's kind of more of the part. I think this adds more, I think in the end it adds more to LeBron's legacy than it is going to add to Bronny's legacy.
But no doubt, and listen, this is something that reiterated Stephen A. Smith, and what's my man's name? I always do his show. LeBron James, the light skinned. I always do his show. Can't think of his name right now. But I think you're close. Say it.
Jones. I can't even.
Bomani Jones?
Yeah,
no,
Bomani
not
Jones.
Bomani Jones. It's light-skinned dude. I wish I could remember his name. Anyway, they was like, look, man, nepotism is not something that's new in sports. You know, a lot of general managers, a lot of owners, their kids take the front office and blah, blah, blah. So this is not nothing new. But the thing is, you're going, you know, let's stop acting like LeBron has it. And people jokingly go, stop acting like LeBron don't coach the Lakers or don't control what happens in the front office, because they give the man everything he wants. It seems like he puts his own teams together. And basically what this is, and everybody's going, so many of the talking heads in sports are going, LeBron James may turn out to be a good player. He's not bad, but he's not ready. He's not ready to be in the NBA, but this is what it is. His father basically put the chokehold on the Lakers and said, you want to keep me? Draft my son. JJ Redick is the coach. They have a podcast together. I saw this breakdown where, matter of fact, I took a picture of it. So Sam Cassell, 4 NBA championships, 3 as a player and 1 as an assistant coach. Several NBA all-time All-Star, All-NBA player. Those are some of Sam Cassell's stats. JJ Redick, 0 championships, 0 as a coach, started a podcast, now is head coach of the Lakers. Ain't an NBA All-Star, never an All-NBA player. So how is he the coach and Sam Cassell or Mark Jackson isn't?
Well, a couple things that I'll give you one. Sam Cassell's a creature, and JJ Redick is a GQ looking guy, and that fits LA. I mean, are we going to argue with that?
No, we're not. But we know that's not why.
Yeah, but
that shouldn't have shit to do with shit.
But LA has a big difference with that. You know, when Coach Riley started that. And Coach Riley is a dapper guy.
I know you're being funny, but that really has nothing to do with nothing.
But LA is that. LA likes to have people that have a look and project what they want to project.
If you think that JJ Redick is the right guy to coach a major organization like the Lakers, when I think we all know he's there because he'll do what LeBron tells him.
That is the right reason. So he's the right person to coach the Lakers because he can coach the team, and LeBron runs the whole team.
And he shouldn't be doing that.
Well,
that's not his job.
I think that if we had different rules like we used to have back in the day where you could have a player coach, LeBron would be a player coach.
Okay, but we don't.
So this is how you get around the rules, and that's what everything is in life. How do you get around the rules?
And this is one of many reasons why, unless you're a bronze vestite, why you have a problem with calling LeBron the GOAT.
Okay, here's the other thing though
you're basically forcing a team at hostage gunpoint to go take my son or I'm out.
He's 40 years old and he's still playing at a high level. He got them a championship. He still has some say. Everybody has say. You know what? But when we go to this, and we're going to go to the Jordan route. Jordan didn't have this kind of say. Obviously, they broke up the team because Jordan didn't have this kind of say. Now, when you say
Jordan had a lot of say, but
not the same kind of say. They were going to get rid of Phil Jackson. They were going to break down the team. It was still going to happen regardless. If this is the Lakers, that wouldn't. This is not happening the same way that it happened in Chicago. LeBron is pulling his LeBron card out, and he's letting them know, this is how we have to do things. I don't think that it's 100% that way because he didn't get the coach that he originally wanted. There were coaches that he really wanted. They let pass.
Who was the coach that he really wanted?
He wanted Tyronn Lue.
Oh, you know what's funny? Before I flew out here, as I was at the airport, Coach Lue was coming out of the terminal, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
The tunnel you walk through to get into the plane. But he was coming out of that, and we locked eyes. I said, oh, what up, Coach Lue? He said, Ari Spears, my man. Bow, we dapped and we hugged. So, yeah.
So you got that going for you.
Yeah, Coach Lue knew who I was.
But, so he doesn't get everything he wants. The team gets put together, but they're letting him I think he's influential on what's happening on the floor. Now, that being said, I don't think it's a bad setup. JJ Redick he does know the game. People said he was going to be a coach long before this happened. Who's going to take that job? Listen, if you're any of those coaches that you just named that are out there that are available, look what's happened to all the coaches that LeBron's had. No one wants that job, dude. Do you think Sam Cassell wants that job?
Absolutely.
I don't think he does.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't he?
Because you have to deal
It's
with
the Lakers.
So what? It's LeBron. It's not the Lakers. You have to deal with LeBron.
But
and
you say that like LeBron is a pariah.
No, but you have to. You might want to do things a different way than the player wants to do things a different way, and the coach usually has the say. Who do you think has the say? If you're a good coach and you really want to establish yourself, you've been an assistant coach. You want to establish yourself as head coach. LeBron is not the one for you.
I don't think LeBron has ever had a coach with the kind of cachet where he knows I have to step back and let this coach
Sam
be the
Cassell
coach.
isn't that guy either.
Because if that's Phil Jackson or that's
But it's not Phil Jackson.
I'm just saying if it's Phil or Popovich, LeBron's not running the show.
Well, they're not running the show, but they probably won't take that job either because they don't want to deal with it. I think that JJ Redick is he's probably a 1-year guy because LeBron's probably only going to play with this one more year, maybe 2, and maybe that's all he's going to do is 1 or 2 years with them. I think he ends up getting another job as an assistant coach, and I think he'll coach again, or he'll be in the booth, or he'll be on ESPN. I think this is a limited. I think this is a trial run. I think this is a fair place for him to be, only because he isn't, like you said, the main coach, or he's the co-coach with LeBron.
That's crazy.
That can't be someone who wants to cement their career, like that has experience and go, I want to implement this. And it's important to have the right coach, man. And if LeBron is going to be the one who's like calling it, then let him be the one that's calling it. Let him have JJ that is going to allow him to be able to do that, and he can facilitate it.
A lot of people are saying that this move just between Redick and Bronny, the Lakers are an official joke. It's a circus. It's a clown show.
I don't think it is. I think okay. Let's say that it is a joke, but let's say this is the experiment. Then you give LeBron his a year to go, okay, this is what you wanted. Make it work. Let's see it work. Make it work.
Well, he's tried that before and it hasn't worked.
Okay, well, this is another shot at it. When you are the GOAT right now, you get a lot more room to say and do what you want to do. Let's see what happens. This only ruins his legacy. If it doesn't work, it hurts him.
And I mean, look, what is LeBron now? Is he almost 40?
Yeah, he's going to be 40 this year when he's playing. I don't think he's 40 yet.
When Father Time comes, he don't knock at the door. He kicks it open. So it's like, even though I know he's been playing at this high level this entire time, and I'm not sitting here wishing ill will on the man, but just like with Kobe was playing at a high level, and then one game, Achilles pop.
Yeah.
Because he's just at that age. So when it comes, it don't seem to come subtly.
No, but Jordan's game got diminished a little bit, but he just played it a different way. You didn't even notice Jordan's game had changed so much, but he played it a different way. He improved his three-point shot. When he would go under the basket, he didn't go up face first and go into people. He'd turn and do that little cradle and that over his.
He became more of a jump shooter.
Yeah, you change the way you play the game, and that will add to LeBron's legacy if he can do that. If he does slow down.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for. I think it has nothing to do with basketball. It's good for his legacy if he can pull it off.
Okay. I think we're there.
Well, you didn't want to do anything on the debate.
Well, it's if we do that, it's gonna run over an hour, so we still got next week.
So let's see. We'll put that on next week. So you guys, the only thing I hate about that is the debate is going to be old by the time we get to it.
Well,
okay.
What time is it? It's 2:30. Let's see, 3:30, 4:35.
Keep it down to 5 minutes for this debate question.
You with debates and the president?
Yeah. I don't give a about this. I really don't.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can get this thing to play.
What you have a clip from it?
With dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
And then when he got to an answer, it was totally somewhere else.
I don't even think the Hawk Tui girl can bring this dude back to life.
You got a hot tool on that thing. You get me? That's funny. Biden's down and dead. Yeah, hot tool on that thing. You feel me? And then he comes back to life. Medicare.
Dude, I have one question after watching the debate. I have only one question.
Dude, I gotta say before you get to your question, and I didn't see the debate, but of course I'm seeing everything on social
You seen the
media.
clips, yeah.
Dude, I gotta say, man, when he starts rambling, and they had the split screen, and they show Trump look at him the whole time, and just is staring at him like what, like we all
disbelief.
What the? And then finally, when they cut Biden off, and they asked Trump, well, what do you make of? He go, I didn't understand anything he said. I don't know what he said. I don't understand anything he said. I don't think you did either. It's the horror show you can't look away from on both sides.
Yeah, but everybody, like, how did no one know this was coming? And you know what? I got to be on. Listen, this will take a couple minutes because now I'm going to say some things that just have to be said. Everybody knew. And his wife was making comments. She's quoted as saying he did such a good job. Stop lying. He didn't do a good job. Now they're trying to backpedal on the fact that the Democratic people, the Democrats, the high up Democrats who are in charge of fundraising or fundraisers are important, that now they're trying to act like they don't want him replaced. Dude, I never seen Water do that before. They do want him replaced. He can't. He's not going to win. And if he does win, he's going to be there for about 8 hours before some like Sonic the Hedgehog. He gets some mental thing, and all of his rings start flying out of him. He is not going to last. It's not a healthy thing to do to this man. I know that he's had. Listen,
this is dementia? Is that what that is?
I don't know, but I think it's hard for people as you get older to keep your same stream of thoughts. I have problems with stream of thought, but he's obviously struggling. And my question
what is he, 80? He's 80,
yeah,
right?
My question is, the real question I think should be asked right now is not should this man be running, is not what's going to happen in this election. Here's the question that should be asked. Who in the is running the country right now? It's not him.
Kamala, right?
She's not running it. They don't even let her talk. I'm surprised she got to. This is how bad he did. They let her have a couple words in it lately, and she's been on some of the emails going out for the fundraising. She didn't talk for 2-3 years, and now that he came out and did this, and they're like, "Yeah, you better send her out." This is how bad it is. Who's running the country right now? The people around him are running the country. We don't have someone in charge that's elected that's running the country. Now, do I want Trump to run the country? I've already said no, but I know that we're going to survive. We proved that this country, the democracy, regardless, this is the fight for democracy. Democracy will win. I don't care. Trump can have his 4 years. He knows he's done after 4. He's going to go away. Who can we survive how many years of this Joe Biden? And then whoever his vice president is.
Dude,
they're replacing somebody. It's Joe or she's getting replaced.
There's no way Joe's got 4 years in him.
No.
No way.
So Joe's getting replaced or Kamala's getting replaced. One of them is going to get replaced. I think it's easier to replace her, and then that way you have someone to fall back on if he goes.
Can you imagine what would 4 years from now look like with Joe Biden? If he was in his second term at the 4th year. Like if he's what he is now.
It would look
What?
it would look something like this. It's too bad you guys can't see this. It would look like this.
A walker.
I'm here with the grandkids, and we're gonna have some pudding.
Dude,
That's what it's gonna be. Listen, if you want to say that he was a great public servant, I'll even give you that. If you want to say that he did a good job in the 3 years so far, I'll say he might have done a good job in the first 2 years. I don't know who's been running it this last year. It's not him. It's not him.
I notice, I say this, I guess jokingly, I guess half-heartedly. I don't think I mean this, but a small part of me wants to see Trump in office. And I don't know if it's just for entertainment value. And you would think that somebody with a job that serious in terms of running the country, this is nothing to play with. So I say that, again, lightly, half-heartedly, kind of joking, but I'm curious.
some of the things that Trump has advocated for and has done in the past. First of all, a lot of the things that Trump put in place are still there. Biden acts like he made all these changes because Trump was a horrible person for the presidency and he was going to ruin the country. He's kept a lot of his policies in place. Most of his policies have stayed in place. They even added to the wall that they said that shouldn't be built. So the things that he has changed, he's opened up the borders. That's one of the biggest problems that we have. That's the big that's his big issue right now that's really causing him to lose voters. Yeah, man, I don't see this working out for the Democrats this election. I don't see it working out for them. I do see an independent, or I see Trump winning. If they don't make some changes, they have to bring. I think it's going to be a vice presidential change, because I think people want to have a secure person behind him, and I don't think there's any confidence in Kamala Harris. So I think that's the issue, and I think it's easier to change her unless he wants to step down. If he wants to step down, he can step down, and I think that would be the right thing to do. But then, this is an ego-driven business politics. So he also doesn't want to step down, and he feels like he's done a good job. And I can't say policy-wise how much of his stuff is horrible. I don't like some of the things that he's done, but you gotta. This is a tough one. And what's worse about this to me is, as we watched this debate and we sat there in disbelief, and then you watch Trump just yell things back and forth that. I love when they did the where they find out if he's lying, the fact checker. Some of it they twisted it how he meant it or how it was said, and there's several things he said. He said he signed this, and it was Obama who did it, but he did sign the one later that expanded it. Well, then, but you said he was wrong. So which is it? Is it wrong, or he just didn't say that I signed on top of what Obama signed and I added more to it? Trump doesn't speak that way. So that was kind of weird to me that they went in, and I think they had to because of how poorly Biden did. But my biggest problem with all of that is we sat there in disbelief. Trump sat there in disbelief. But the rest of the world is watching this. Putin has ships, military ships in Cuba area. I mean, and we have, that's who's running the country right now. It doesn't make us look stronger. It doesn't make us look better. It's not a good look. And everyone in the world is like looking at us going, well, America had a good run. I mean, they were on top of it for a long time, but it ain't looking good. And the worst part of it is this is the best that we can do. This is the best two that we could throw out there. It's ridiculous. I said on stage this weekend, I think there's 3 people in this audience that could do a better job. So I don't really believe that, but I mean, it feels like it. Maybe all 3 of them together could do a better job. I mean, foreign policy is a tough one. This is unbelievable, man. But this country is not in a good place. And when they said if he does step down, who do they bring up? Who steps up? And you have Robert Kennedy sitting out in the back, who I think is actually a pretty interesting idea of a candidate, even though he has a lot of conspiratorial theories and he has a worm that's eating his brain. I need to know how much of the worm is eaten that day. I need to know how much brain the worm eats per day before I can cast my vote for him. But he has just as good of a chance of winning now as either of these two now.
When it comes to this, we should be able to change the laws and the conditions and say that when it comes down to this, and this is what it is, almost like a break glass in case of emergency, we can bring back a president for a 3rd term. Obama!
I don't know if he'd get elected right now.
I'm just saying, between them two, he should be an option.
Between those two, it should definitely be an option. But here's the worst part about it to me is that this is, again, the best that we can do. How do we change this trajectory? Because even no matter what happens in this next election and 4 years of that, so we're looking at 5 years, 5 more years. Who's stepping up? Who do we look at that's moving the country? Who is moving the needle that we're going to go, this is the person that we need to be throwing our chips in? Whether Democrat or Republican, I don't care. Who is this next wave of people, of politicians that are going to come in and make a difference. Because I don't see it. And the people that are on the far left that get a lot of attention, they're not good for us. And what you're saying about it would be okay if we can change the laws and do a third. If it was Trump that was displaying this, the media would be out front yelling, "We have to make changes. We have to move the laws. We have to move it because we can't have this happening to us." But it's not Trump, it's Biden. And so they're not going to say this. And this is where you can actually look at our media and know that it's biased and it isn't doing the best for the people, because the media is tiptoeing around this. And the media needs to be aggressive and do what's right for the people. The media is everything that I said and worse than what I thought was going to happen when Biden got elected. And that's why I voted for who I voted for. When I voted for Biden, I said on this podcast, and people go back and listen, I didn't cast for Biden. I cast for the media. And I want them to hold Biden as accountable as they held Trump. And they're not doing it. They haven't done it the whole time. They got rid of fact checkers. They've never really put their efforts into it. They like it. And George Carlin said it best when he talked about, you don't need a conspiracy theory. All you need is everybody to have gone to the same schools, run the same business, run the same circles, and have the same agenda. And that's what we have right now.
Hear, hear.
All right, we're done. Are we done?
I think so.
Do you want some dates?
Please.
I forgot about that. I forgot about dates. Let's get to it. Steve is going to be in 1 second. You're going to have to clean this up real quick. Let me grab it. I did good on that. I didn't go too long. All right, guys. Listen, man, you're listening to us, and we're coming from St. Louis, Missouri, and we're finishing up here. Aries or myself, or Aries and myself, or just Aries, will be at the Omaha Funny Bone. I think it's going to be Aries, to be honest, because it just financially doesn't make any sense. But Aries will be there July 5th through the 6th. 3 shows, 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. Go check that out. I love the club, though. I think Omaha's is it's cool, man. It's cool out there as far as the comedy scene. So. Would like to have been there, but don't think that's going to happen. Then July 11th through the 14th, we're going to be in Irvine Improv. July 16th through the 20th. Oh, sorry. Is that 16th? 18th through the 20th. I apologize. 18th through the 20th, we're going to be at Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco. August 1st through the 3rd, we're going to be at Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club in San Antonio. August 8th to the 10th, we're going to be at Mic Drop Comedy Club in San Diego. August 22nd to the 23rd, we're going to be back in Phoenix at Stand Up Live, followed by one night only, August 24th at the Rialto Theater in Tucson, Arizona. Aries are going to get some actual Tucson Mexican food, man. We're going to go down. I'm going to take them to South Tucson and do it up. August 30th through September 1st, we're going to be at the Houston Improv. September 7th, one night only, The Complex in Salt Lake City, Utah. That's September 7th. September 13th through the 14th, Hartford Funny Bone. September 20th through the 21st, we're going to be at the Improv in Kansas City, Missouri. August 4th, we're at Royal Oak Music Theater in Michigan. Doing real well. I can't wait to get out there. And the big date for us is October 5th. We're going to be at the Apollo Theater. And that's, again, October 5th. Get your tickets. We'll be back in New York for one night only, October 5th. Got anything else?
No, I do not.
Well, then that's a show.
That is a show.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this, it was hosted by Aries Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button Podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.